Hey friends, this is Carrie and welcome back to I Like Reddit channel. Today we have a variety of stories out of some different subreddits. Let's begin. Our first story is by the Reddit troll 2198. Yet another plain Karen. I used to fly a lot when I was working. Towards the end of my career, the hours were insane, so I was working pretty much all hours of the day. Side note, I still hate red-eye flights. When I was on the plane heading to wherever, I usually used the time to finish reports or presentations, ones I was supposed to present upon arrival, which meant I had a laptop on my tray and would industriously type away. I do some of my best work when I'm under intense time pressures. This methodically is commonly referred to as pulling it out of my butt. On one flight, I had the window seat and a mother and her 3 or 4-year-old child, I'm guessing at the age, had the middle and aisle seat. The mother sat the child in the middle seat, and she took the aisle seat. The flight was pretty normal. We leveled out and we got the go-ahead to use electronic devices, so I pulled out my work laptop and continued the process of pulling another brilliant presentation out of my butt. I was very focused on what I was doing, so the chocolate-covered small hand that slapped my screen came at a bit of a surprise. I look over at the child, and the mother just smiled at the child's antics and told me, "He just wants to play," and then went back to her in-flight magazine. I did a whole, okay, eyebrow bounce. I have very expressive eyebrows, and moved the laptop closer to the wall and continued on. Because of the new position of the laptop, I was prepared with the chocolate-covered hand reaching out again. I didn't say anything. I just gently fended off the kitty's paw to stop him from touching the screen, and then I fended him off again and again and again. I'm pretty sure the mom was ostentatiously ignoring what was going on. The kid was getting frustrated and angry. So was I. In the end, the kid tried to stand on my leg and make a lunge at the computer, and I turned to him and just said, "No." Cue the meltdown. I didn't think I was mean about it, I was just firm, and the kid had a freaking meltdown. I've heard fire engine sirens that were quieter. The mother finally put down her in-flight magazine and grabbed her kid from the middle seat and put him in her lap, while glaring at me ferociously as she tried to soothe her spawn. I listened to the yodeling for a minute with pursed lips while ignoring the furious glares from Mama Bear. I realized the time was going to be a write-off, so I put my laptop away and pulled out my noise-canceling headphones and listened to music for the rest of the flight. Probably other than the kid probably never hearing the word no, I think this entitled mother was just hoping that the original poster would play with the kid rather than her having to, bring toys or games or books or maybe, let him play with her phone or iPad. Something that she's supposed to do, but instead, because she's entitled, it's everybody else's job to watch and take care of her kid and occupy his time. Anyway, on to the next story. Our next story is posted by Hi Internet Friend. HOA board tries to force me to remove my trampoline. I get them removed from the board instead. I put a trampoline in my backyard in early 2017. I have 3 young boys who have enjoyed it immensely. My neighbor, the HOA president at the time, went to sell his house in spring of 2018, and his realtor said the trampoline in my backyard might be a detriment to getting top dollar for his house. So he convinced the neighbor on the other side of my house to complain as well. Out of the blue, I received a message from the HOA property manager that the neighbors complained and I would need to submit a form to get it approved. Intermission. What's sad is that I was friendly with both of these people. They had been in my home. They could have talked to me face to face. With one of the neighbors, I paid for and shared a fence with her at her request, since her neighbor on the other side wouldn't contribute to their shared fence. Another board member and a human piece of garbage. I would have been willing to dig a hole for the trampoline to hide it more, or purchase a new one with the elastic bands rather than springs to make it quieter. Both of those options are cheaper than getting a lawyer, but nobody asked. Nobody came to me to have a face-to-face, heart-to-heart discussion about their concerns. A few ironies. These are 5-bedroom homes. Clearly people with kids are going to move in, and they're going to be noisy in their backyard with or without play equipment. The guy who sold his house smoked like a chimney. I don't think my trampoline should have been his top concern. The people who ended up buying his home are a great family with 2 kids who don't care about toys in other people's backyards. My neighbors have raised kids to adulthood One of them has 2 very active boys. When I pointed this out to her, the words that actually came out of her mouth were, "I know it's a challenge to raise boys, but we're actually at different stages of our lives," as if that justified her trying to screw me over. Back to the story. I filled out the form and sent it in. The Architectural Review Committee denied it a month later. I appealed the decision and met with the board in August. They sent me a letter and said it was in violation. I asked which rules I violated. They never sent me a letter, so I asked again a week later. The property manager was adamant that she sent a letter, but I asked for proof. She forwarded an email where she put my name into the "to" field after the fact. I had strong suspicion that it was after the fact due to the following reasons. An HOA meeting was mentioned and never took place. In response to my questions, varied in color, indicating that they had edited at different times. She responded immediately to my request for proof by indicating that she would forward the email, but then took an hour, presumably editing the draft she never sent. She cited a rule early in the email, but then cited an additional rule later that superseded the first. The first cited rule could have simply been omitted. The message was not marked as forwarded message at the top, and sent time didn't include seconds. None of these things are a smoking gun, but they are suspicious. I asked the other people in the "to" field if they received a copy of the email with my name in the address field. The only honest member of the board replied he hadn't. The rest remained silent because they didn't want to look like they and the property manager dropped the ball. Intermission. If you're curious as to why the board didn't like my trampoline, here's the rationale provided in the letter that was never sent. Due to the close proximity of the homes to each other and the small yards, the trampoline is unsightly to the homes surrounding it. Realtors for those homes surrounding you have stated that it is a distraction to selling homes and is lowering the home value of those around it. There have also been neighbor complaints regarding the noise level, which creates those homeowners to be unable to enjoy their homes. They are also unable to use certain portions of their home while the trampoline is being used. My kids all weigh less than 35 pounds. They go to bed at 7 p.m. They don't jump on the trampoline in the morning before 10 a.m. My neighbors bought homes 10 feet away from mine. What did they expect? Back to the story. The year-end meeting was scheduled for yesterday, and 4 of the board positions were up for election. I got 3 of my friends on the street to run with me. I went door to door every day for a week and spoke with the majority of homeowners about their discontent with the street. I got 1/3 of the community to sign proximity forms stating that I would vote on their behalf. I went to the meeting last night and put these fools on blast. I listed calmly all the ways the current board is failing the community and my plan to right their wrongs. The vote was a landslide in favor of me and my friends getting elected. One awful board member remains, but he is the minority. We fired the property manager, who was uncommunicative and flat out dishonest. The trampoline endures. The only bummer is now I have to manage a street which includes some legit crazy people. But this whole episode has convinced my wife that we will never live in an HOA again, which I count as a huge victory in addition to the trampoline remaining where it is today. I always thought that HOAs were shady. It was like a way you could extort money out of your neighbors, essentially. And it kind of seems that's what they were doing, except coming up with rules that weren't even in the rule book just so you can get rid of a trampoline in somebody's backyard. Ridiculous. I'm glad that the OP and his friends were able to get rid of the majority of the board members who were corrupt. Anyway, on to our final story. Our next story is posted by SlickGamerYT. EM almost kills Applebee's employee because of the wrong order and gets arrested for it. A little backstory here. Last week, my dad and I went to Applebee's for dinner before we went to see a movie. The cast? Me. EM, Entitled Mom. SIK, Sad Innocent Kid. AE, Applebee's employee. W, Waiter. D, Dad. C, Cop. So my dad and I pull into Applebee's. We get in and we are greeted and seated by an awesome employee, and we talk. Then we order our food. Dad got a steak and I got shrimp. I realized that we're near a Karen, hair and all. I inform my dad and explain this subreddit to him, and he calmly tells me not to worry. So our food comes and we eat. All of a sudden we hear EM scream, "What the freak is this?" The waiter comes over to see what's going on. and also to inform the entitled mother she needs to watch her language, as this took place at prime time, so families with children were present. The entitled mother explained how she got the wrong food, and I text my dad. I didn't want to say it out loud, as I didn't want to get involved. That it's funny how he thought nothing was going to happen. We realized that it was dead silent with everybody's eyes fixed on the scenario. The entitled mother realizes now that she has everyone's attention. Time for the grand finale! So she takes her plate as if to give it to the waiter. Instead, she throws the plate, the waiter dodges it just barely, it hits the wall and shatters, and a piece of glass goes into a nearby waiter's arm. Not fully, but half of the room filled with collective gasps. Someone called the police, so 15 minutes later, we hear sirens. The station was only 20 miles from the restaurant. The cop shows up and immediately arrests the EM for property damage, assault, and child abuse. A sad, innocent kid was covered in bruises, and when asked about them, he told the cop everything. Paramedics arrived to treat the waiter's arm, and the situation evolved into a big problem. Sweet, innocent kid was taken by CPS since he had nowhere else to go. Situations like this make me wonder if the person isn't on drugs or alcohol or some other substance, just because the reaction to the food not being correct is completely out of order. I mean, you would think that the waiter killed her firstborn son or something. But it's just a wrong food order. These things happen every day. It's not a big deal. And yet, she got to go to jail for it, along with, abusing her child. Anyway. Our final story is by Path of Purple. He doesn't work for Ford. I just got to my mother-in-law's house for Thanksgiving and heard my brother-in-law regale us with a recent tale of his. He answered the phone in his usual manner, announcing both his name and government department. She didn't bother to hear him. She starts off, "Finally, I got one of you live, and you're gonna hear what I have to say, and then you're gonna help." She spoke incessantly for over 25 minutes, complaining about her Ford vehicle and how everyone else she'd called had either hung up on her or simply refused to help. While she was rambling, my brother-in-law was trying to determine what he'd say when she finally ran out of breath. "I don't work here, lady," had come to mind at some point. When she finally asked, "Well, are you going to fix my Ford or not?" he calmly replied, "Ma'am, I'm positive the US government, branch name withheld, doesn't repair Ford vehicles. I think you have the wrong number." She didn't apologize. She simply hung up. That's definitely a weird one. Anyway, that's all the stories I have today. Please stop on by Reddit to show the OP some love and an upvote. Links to the original stories will be in the description box below. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to let you know when I've uploaded new content. Thank you for watching and have a great day.